Mariners win 6-3. They improved to 27-22 on the season, and they've taken 2 of the first 4. I know I keep calling it a 3-game series. 2 of the first 4 against the New York Yankees. Let's go over the scoring plays. This is a tale as old as time. In the 3rd inning, the Mariners get 2. Dylan Moore hits a homer to left to score Josh Rojas, 2-0. Nothing happens from the 4th to the 6th inning. I don't think the Mariners have given up a run or scored a run between the 4th and the 6th inning of this year. I know that's not true. It sure feels like it, though. 4th to 6th, nothing happens. But the Mariners add 2 in the 7th. Ty France homers to left center, and Dylan Moore singles home Mitch Garver 4-0 at the end of the top of the 7th. Yankees do get back in it. Gleyber Torres homers off of Trent Thornton to score Aaron Judge, and Anthony Rizzo makes it a 4-3 game. But the Mariners get some add-on. In the 8th, Luke Raley homers to right, and Dylan Moore homers to right center in the 9th. 6-3 Mariner win. Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. We'll talk about a couple negatives before we get into the positives. Top of the lineup didn't have a great day. Crawford and Rodriguez both reach, but they didn't have good offensive games. Not at all. And Julio makes an error. Second error in back-to-back games, which is crazy to see. But they didn't have good offensive games. Big Dumper struggled at the plate. He did get hit by a pitch, but 0 for 3 with a couple of Ks. Canzone didn't look great, except defensively. And we'll talk about the defense in a sec. Josh Rojas, not the best day. But the offense I thought was pretty good today. Well, it's 11 strikeouts, but I thought overall it was a pretty solid offensive game. On the pitching side, Gabe Spire just doesn't look like the same guy right now. He just doesn't look like the same guy. And then Trent Thornton ends up giving up the homer as well. You got to go get somebody. Somebody's. You got to go make this bullpen better. You got to make this bullpen better. You cannot just rely on Andre Munoz being basically infallible. It doesn't work. You've had to use him way too much. Way too much. And I'll say, too, that Ryan Stanek gets the job done. He didn't look great. It ends up being a 1-2-3 or a 1-2-3-4 inning, but you just watch those guys pitch right now, and it's tough to have a lot of confidence in them. I also think, well, we can just talk about Bryan Woo when we get there, because obviously he belongs in the positive section, as does Simply Seattle, who provides the very best in Seattle sports gear. Great stuff for the Mariners, Seahawks, Kraken, Storm, Sounders, Huskies, Cougars. You can find it all at Simply Seattle. You enter code MOLLYWOP15 at checkout, and it's going to take 15% off your order. That's an awesome deal from awesome people. MOLLYWHOP15 at www.simplyseattle.com. There is a link in the description. Just copy and paste it. Make it nice and easy for yourself. Get a bunch of really cool stuff. Support the show and support some really, really good people at simplyseattle.com. Bryan Woo was outstanding. Outstanding. And if you're wondering why I was going to talk about him in the negative section, I get it. I get it that you don't want him facing that lineup a third time through. I would have let him keep going, man. I would have let him keep going in a 4-0 game. Now, if it was bloop in a blast time or a one-run game or something, can't get closer to the one-run game. I guess tied, but you know what I'm saying. If it was a little bit closer of a game, I'm probably just going to my bullpen and hoping for the best. But I thought Woo's command was so good today, and the stuff was moving so much, I would have given him another inning. He was phenomenal. Phenomenal against one of the best lineups in baseball. Guys, the Yankees hadn't lost back-to-back home games all year before today. The Yankees are really good. And I was very nervous to see how Bryan Woo was going to pitch today, because the biggest question mark I have with Bryan Woo is how he does against better lineups. Now, it's harder to pitch against good teams. The obvious point is obvious. Hand me the Pulitzer right now. But his ERA against teams that are good compared to teams that aren't so good, it's like a 5-run difference. So I was nervous about Woo coming into this one. Shut me up. And not like I don't think he's capable of someday being, he could be a mid-rotation starter or better. I think he could someday probably be a number 2. Secondary stuff needs to show more consistency. Everything you saw today tells you how good he can be, though. Everything you saw suggests that Bryan Woo is ready. The stuff he has shown has just been spectacular. And the results have been pretty darn good, too. That's a 0.57 ERA. It's a small sample, to be sure. But how can you not be impressed with what you're seeing from Bryan Woo? That's your 5th starter, by the way. That's your 5th starter. Spectacular. And then, we talked about the other relief arms, but Andre Munoz would have been nice if you wouldn't have had to use him today, to be sure. I would guess that he's not available on Wednesday. Hopefully they can win by 16. It doesn't matter. Gives up the hit and the walk, but I thought the stuff looked really good. The strikeout to end the game. Was he as good as yesterday? No, it's hard to be as good as he was yesterday. He's just been phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. The idea that this guy wasn't a closer is one of the stupidest things I've ever heard. He is as good of a high leverage reliever as there is in baseball. Man. Very, very fortunate to have Andre Munoz on your team. Offensively, love to see Luke Raley homer against a lefty. And it was a big homer, too. It's a 4-3 game. He's facing a lefty. You had just given up the 3 spots for the Yankees to get back into this thing. And you add that little cushion with a nice piece of hitting. Yes, taking advantage of New York's silly right field, but still a nice piece of hitting that gets out of the ballpark. He's been phenomenal. And I love that they hit him third today. Luke Raley deserves to hit third. Daily for Raley for sure, but he deserves to be in the middle of the lineup. He was terrible to end the second half of the season for the Rays. He was terrible in spring training. In sporadic playing time, he didn't look good in April. But there's talent in that bat. There is absolutely talent in the bat, and you see what he can do. You see what he can do when he's hot. Will we probably see some regression? You bet we will. He is not a 306 hitter with a 472 slugging percentage. That's not Luke Raley. But he doesn't have to be effective. And while he is this effective, he needs to be getting the chance to hit in the middle of the order. Nice game for Ty France. If he would have been thrown out on that play, the second hit that he gets, the fact that play was even close, my goodness gracious, is that a slow man? But he's hitting the baseball hard again. That's great to see. An awesome game from Mitch Garver as well. 2 terrific at-bats with a couple of hits. They need him to get going, man. If they can get Mitch Garver and Ty France to be average hitters right now, and you need Mitch Garver probably to be a little bit above average. But if France can be an average hitter, and if Mitch Garver can be what we've seen really for the most of May, not all of it, but most of it, in my humble estimation, at least with the eye test, they're going to be okay. I still think you need to add bats. One thing will be nice if Jorge Polanco can get healthy. But in the meantime, I've seen some flashes from this offense. Now, we're a victim of the moment too, right? Because this offense looked like dog turds for the overwhelming majority of yesterday's game. But today it looked pretty good, and it especially looked good because Dylan Moore is awesome. 3 for 4, 2 homers, scores a couple of runs, obviously, because he hit 2 homers. That's how that works. I guess he could have been passed on the bases to not score a run, but he's been phenomenal, and he needs to be in the lineup every day. Every single day. One of the Mitches at this point, and honestly, it should be Haniger, needs to sit so that he can play. And you need to play Dylan Moore over Dom Canzone. Yep. That has to happen right now because he is quite simply as good of a hitter for the Seattle Mariners as there is. Just his approach has been so good. His swing is so goofy. It's just not a normal swing. It almost looks like he's dropping the bat into the zone, like literally dropping it. But it works. It's working right now anyway, and he's always had a good approach. The pop is absolutely there. You got to ignore the batting average, but 243 is not abhorrent. It's higher than a lot of guys for the Seattle Mariners right now. But his 350 on base percentage, that's the best on the team. And the 504 slugging percentage, it was the highest of anybody in the lineup, not named Dom Canzone. And obviously, Canzone doesn't have the sample size of a lot of these guys. He's been phenomenal. A phenomenal player. Do I guarantee he can keep this up? On the contrary. But it sure is fun to watch right now. And he's a valuable player. He's not a great defender anywhere, but he's good enough. He's good enough. He's always hit lefties well. He is clearly one of your fastest runners as well. He looks so much healthier. I know we've talked about that a bunch. So much healthier than he did coming into 2023. And it's not a surprise. I hear scar tissue sucks. I hope I never have to feel it. But yeah, Dylan Moore, man. This has just been such a fun couple of games to watch. And look, last night, and a bunch of you brought it up on the old YouTube, and I appreciate all the comments bringing up that was a lot more luck than good. Okay. I don't care personally, but okay. Ain't nothing lucky about this one. You were the overwhelmingly better team. Overwhelmingly the better team. And now you have a chance. Oh, I meant to mention, by the way, Canzone's defense. I was thinking about, well, we wrap it up. You can probably tell I don't script any of this crap. But I was thinking in my head as I looked at the box score, a couple of awesome catches from Dom Canzone. I think outside of him misplaying the ball in Baltimore, and that was a big play. But outside of that, I think he looks so much more comfortable in right field than he does in left. Am I calling him a great defensive player? Absolutely not. But he's looked much more comfortable tracking the baseball, getting to the baseball, reading it off the bat, obviously tracking and reading, similar thing. He looks better in right field. And I think that you got to have him playing right field right now. I'm sorry, Mitch Haniger. You need to be a bench option right now. I don't think that's a controversial statement. But because you win these first two games, the worst thing that can happen is a split in New York. And if you told me that we could get a split in New York after watching that Baltimore series, I would have signed up so gosh dang fast. So fast. And they do it. You've guaranteed it now. But now we can get greedy. Am I asking for a sweep? No. Am I asking for a series win now? Heck, yes, I'm asking for a series win. Abso-darn-tootly-lootly. What the heck was that? I want that series win. And I'll tell you another thing. I want that series to win to come with a win tomorrow for a couple of reasons. Number one, you win the series. Number two, if you lose tomorrow, you go to 27-23. Would you like to guess what your win percentage is if you're 27-23? Yeah. So let's just avoid that. Let's go to 560 instead of that other number. Thank you for watching. Please hit like. Please hit subscribe. Oh, let's talk about what the matchup is tomorrow. I believe it's Bryce Miller against Nestor Cortez. Just a quick little confirm by hitting some loud buttons. And yep, Bryce Miller against Nestor Cortez, 405. Please hit like. Please hit subscribe. Thank you guys so much for your support. We are like 60 followers away from 1,500. I'd really love to get there by the end of the month. So tell your friends, all that stuff. Do it even if you want to hate watch me. I can't imagine hating me, but Some people do. I sure didn't hate this game. Dylan Moore, man, and Bryan Woo, man, and the Seattle Mariners, man.